Hello everybody! So today I'm going to be doing a Draw My Life video. I know this tag was around on YouTube literally years ago, but I have always wanted to do one, so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to bring it back. But I am an awful drawer, so please bear with. So let's start off on August the 13th, 1998, when I was born. As I film this, I am 6,772 days old, so this was 6,772 days ago. A lot of people don't know that I actually do have an older brother who is 26, so he was 8 years old when I was born. When I was a little baby, I had a bleach blonde mohawk, and no matter how much someone squished it down or wet it, it would always spring back up. So I was a little rock star baby. Just joking, I was far from it. Moving on to the year 2000, when I was 2.5, we went to Spain on a family holiday. It all seemed like it was going pretty well, but then I went and got chicken pox. Wasn't great. And it also meant that I possibly couldn't fly home, but we managed to cover me up in loads of clothing and do it anyway. This was also the holiday when I fell in the pool, and we didn't think anything of it at the time other than a 2.5-year-old falling in the pool, you know, no big deal. But this has actually caused quite a few problems in my later life, which I will come on to further in the video. I also started doing ballet when I was 2.5 years old. Throughout my entire childhood, I loved it. I loved dancing. I would dance every night after school. But 2.5 was the age I started. I still have my first pair of ballet shoes. They are adorable. And I did my first ballet show when I was 3 years old. Apparently, I cried and ran off stage. In 2001, I started nursery when I had just turned 3 years old. But nursery was where I met a girl called Ellie. Ellie and I became so close, we were best friends, we grew up together, we would do arts and crafts together and then try and sell it to our parents, we would put on dance shows. I just remember nothing but happy times with Ellie. She was one of my best friends throughout my entire childhood and I loved every minute of it. And then when I was 4 years old, I decided to branch out into more types of dance. So I started to do tap, modern, jazz, character, and I absolutely adored all of them. I don't know how I managed to fit it all in. 4-year-old Hannah was a very busy 4-year-old. I also started school at the age of 4. I went to a really small, lovely school. It was very idyllic. And this is where I met Leanne. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Leanne. She is still my best friend today. We have a lot of funny memories from through primary and secondary school. In 2006, at the age of 8, I joined a drama school with Ellie. We took a LAMDA exam, which is like the official drama exam in the UK. That's the first proper exam that I ever did and I was so nervous for it. Ellie and I also did singing lessons together and we actually did a duet on stage in front of like 500 people it was. So the two of us, little 8-year-olds, were singing on the stage in front of all these people and my mum and dad still say it was one of the cutest things I've ever seen. When I was 9 years old, I decided to branch out into the world of sports. Quickly found out it was not for me, but I was on the girls' cricket team at school and I also did football for a good couple of months. Then I realised I was rubbish and quit it because what's the point? I was literally scared of the ball. I would run away from the ball. By this point in my life, my hair was fairly long, so I decided to give it the chop at the age of 10. I immediately regretted my decision and the next day I went into school and this nasty little boy in my class said I looked like a boy and I looked like an elephant. So I swore never to cut my hair ever again. I was going to grow it out, but here we are today with short hair. So that didn't last. It was also around this age where I went to hypnotherapy for the first time. If you are not familiar with my life, I had a phobia of dogs for a good 16 years that I remember. So for about 6 or 7 months, I went to hypnotherapy every single week. I'd sit down in a room with a woman and she would ask me how I was feeling. She asked me what the problem was. We would do exercises together where I had to close my eyes and imagine scenarios. There were no swinging necklaces involved. But when months passed by and I still felt the same, I was still scared of dogs, I had lots of irrational fears, I decided that hypnotherapy was not for me, or at least this woman wasn't anyway. Then in 2010, at the age of 12, I started secondary school. I decided this was the age where I was going to give up dancing, I gave up drama, I gave up singing, because I just wanted to focus on school. At the time, the most important thing to me was getting good GCSEs in 5 years' time. Leanne and I went to the same secondary school. We were both so nervous, but we made a lovely group of friends and we quickly settled in. About a year later, when I was 13, I decided, hang on a minute, year 7 is not that intense. So I decided to take up singing lessons again, and I actually went to a new singing teacher and he was the trainer of Kylie Minogue and like all these other big artists that I can't remember, but he made me drink hot Ribena during my lesson. I did not like cold Ribena. Hot Ribena, new level, so I never went back. I had literally one lesson with him, but I think it was for the best anyway because he charged like £70 an hour. When I was 13, I also started my first YouTube channel with Leanne. We had like a joint channel. We did baking, we filmed our holiday, we did vlogs. The videos are honestly so embarrassing, but they are still in the depths of YouTube somewhere hiding. Speaking of our holiday, in 2012, Leanne and I went to Florida together. Leanne's family went, my family went, and we honestly had the best time. We did everything that you're supposed to do in Florida. We went to Disneyland, we went to all the theme parks, we went to IHOP. I honestly think those 2 weeks are my favourite 2 weeks of my entire life. I absolutely loved it. So after our joint YouTube channel died down a bit, I mean, not that it ever was a thing anyway, I decided that I really liked making videos. So I started a channel all by myself, on my lonesome. So on the 26th of October 2013, I was sat in my bed and I decided to create a YouTube channel. But I was 15 years old and I started it because I was in year 11, I had GCSEs coming up, and I've always been a massive worrier, so I needed something to distract me from that worry. And making videos on YouTube was the perfect way to distract myself. I felt like I had a bit of responsibility, even though I just had a couple of hundred subscribers. I worked as if I had millions, and I absolutely loved every single second of it. And I still do today, so hey, isn't that handy? But then a short while after I started my channel, I actually encountered my first experience with death. I lost my nana on the 9th of December. GCSEs were coming around the corner, but I didn't want to focus on GCSEs anymore. I lost all concentration, I lost passion for my channel. Obviously, I didn't feel like filming videos at that time in my life, and it just felt like a vicious cycle of feeling horrible. But then almost exactly a year after I started my channel, I hit 1,000 subscribers. This is still one of my favourite milestones that I've hit on YouTube. It took me a year to get there, but I was so proud of myself, and I really felt like that was a big accomplishment in my life. So by this point in my life, I had just started sixth form. During year 11, Leanne and I had actually fallen out with our friendship group, so it was kind of us two against the world. And then when we went to sixth form, Leanne actually went to a different college, so I felt so alone during this time. I tried so hard to fit into a group, but it never felt quite right. I was feeling really isolated and I felt like I didn't have anything in common with anybody in my year. But that was, of course, until I met my girls. They are still my go-to group chat today, even though they've all gone off to different universities. We still talk all the time, but we'd all come from different situations, falling out with our friends, drama had occurred, so we all kind of found ourselves together, and it is honestly the best friendship group I have ever been a part of. I absolutely adore every single one of them. So then in 2015, when I was 17, my A-level exams were just around the corner, I lost my grandma on the 26th of October. It happened overnight, it was really sudden, none of the family were expecting it, and it was so difficult to deal with. It was hands down one of the most difficult times in my life, and I think this was where it all started to go a bit wrong for me. So after this happened, I went through a bit of a bad patch in my life. I felt down all the time, I felt lonely, I felt like I was a bit odd because I didn't want to go to parties, I wasn't a party person. I'd also lost touch with Leanne a bit because she had gone to college and she'd made new friends and she was really enjoying herself. And I obviously didn't want to be Debbie Downer in anyone's life, so I kind of bottled it up and kept it all to myself until one day I just broke and I felt more anxious than ever in social situations. Some days I couldn't even sit with my friends at lunch because I felt so anxious being around other people, and it really was a bit of a downward spiral. So eventually I decided enough is enough. I said I need help and I went to the doctors. This is the first time I've spoken about this on my channel, but I was actually put on a form of antidepressants. I also started having hypnotherapy at this time in my life again for a range of reasons, but once we'd got to the root of the problem we could work on it, and we worked on it together, this hypnotherapist and I saw her for a few months. I didn't tell anybody about it because I felt embarrassed and I felt like a bit of a failure and also a little bit of a liar because I was making these videos on the internet still and I was putting on a brave face and pretending I was happy, and I really wasn't. But after I'd seen this hypnotherapist, she helped me so much that I gradually started to stop taking my medication, and now it's very rare that I feel like I have to take my medication, so I feel like I've come so far from that point in my life. Anyway, moving on to 2016. This was the year where everything changed for me, and it all seemed to start on one particular date, which was April the 7th, 2016. It was the night of my first YouTube event. It was the benefit boat party in London. I went with Gabby and Roxy, and I met Molly there. This was the first day that I met both Gabby and Molly, and they are still two of my closest friends today. I honestly do not know what I would do without these two girls. They have helped me so much. I have so much to thank them for, and I really hope that both of these friendships last forever. But this party that I went to was the first time I'd socialised with other YouTubers, and it motivated me so much to work hard with YouTube, and it gave me a focus other than feeling sad. And then in 2016, more exciting YouTube things happened. I went to the Bridget Jones Baby premiere. I hit 100,000 subscribers on the 17th of June, which is still absolutely insane to me. I went to Summer in the City on my 18th birthday. I absolutely loved that. I went to the Shout Hangout and I met a bunch of you guys. It was so fun. And obviously, we can't forget that I went to Paris with a lot of my YouTube friends in October. It was absolutely insane. I could never imagine that I would feel so comfortable with a group of people I'd never met. Hands down, 2016 is my favourite year of my life so far. I had so much fun, I did so many cool things, and a lot of that is down to you guys, so thank you for that. But also, 2016 was the year that I finished my A-levels. I left sixth form with 2 A's and a B. I finally fully overcame my phobia of dogs, and that was probably one of my biggest achievements of the year because it was something that felt so impossible. I thought it was never going to happen. And it was also the year that I started to learn to drive, something I was also really worried about, but I'm still learning now and it's going well. And then finally in 2016 I met someone very special. On the 9th of October, Thomas and I became an official couple. He has changed my mindset, my confidence, and it's so nice to now know what love feels like. That sounds so cheesy, but it is so true because I was always really worried that I'd never find someone. I never felt lovable, but now I am loved and it's a nice feeling. I like it a lot. It hasn't been a normal relationship, to say the least. I think some of you are aware of it, but we've had to go through some really difficult times, things that most fully grown, stable couples don't have to go through. We've definitely had a lot of growing up to do, and we've had to do it fast, but it's made us such a strong couple, and I wouldn't change our relationship for the world. It's a long story and probably sounds really confusing, but it will all be explained in a future video, I'm sure. I'm so excited for our future. I know that we've got so much to look forward to, and we're gonna have a really healthy and happy future. So now that brings us to 2017. I've got some really exciting plans for this year, so I'm so excited about what's to come, and I can't wait to share some of my plans with you. The future can be really scary, but when I look back at how much I've overcome in my life, I feel so proud of myself, and I realise that I can take on anything, and I hope you all know that you can too. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and that you feel like you know me a bit more now. Thank you for watching, and I hope your lives are treating you well too. Bye!